Feel most welcome. Today we are going to look at a review of a book, actually a report known as Dignity Counts, a guide to using budget analysis to advance human rights. So in this book, which was written by a number of organizations, it highlights the importance of budgets and or importance of you combining the promotion of human rights with budget or budgets. So they say that financial resources need to be directed, for example, to training police, not to abuse citizens, to training judges and maintaining courts. So they further say it is important to put money where the mouth is. No matter how sophisticated or detailed the analysis, examining a government budget won't answer all possible questions about how well a government program is being carried out. Therefore, for example, assessing the teaching requires something other than budget analysis. A government may open emergency food centers in drought-stricken areas, but what type of food is available to those in need? Does it have much calories and nutrients? Is the food appropriate and acceptable to the population in the area? Nutritionists can give you more useful answers to those questions than can budget analysts. So, budget analysis provides persuasive evidence and arguments even in a court of law. The technical skills required for budget analysis, on the other hand, are highly valued in the same world. Accused, for example, human rights workers, particularly those in relatively new arena of economic, social, and cultural rights, are frequently accused by governments of complaining about what is wrong while not providing concrete suggestions for what might be done to improve the situation. Budget analysis can often pinpoint inadequacies in expenditures, misdirection of funds, or a misfit of expenditures, particularly with regard to positive obligations, that is, obligations to take action, rather than it is negative obligations or obligations to desist from doing something. Budget analysis can be integrated into advocacy strategies that are already familiar to human rights activists, and in the process can often make those strategies more effective. Legislatures, for example, may not be well versed in budget figures or have an adequate understanding of the implications of government budget. Providing explanations of the human rights implications of certain expenditures can be an aid to legislators, in turn encouraging them to be more open to proposals made by activists. Courts, too, have proven to be receptive to human rights arguments that use as part of their evidence data derived from budget analysis. So you can see, budget analysis is a very important skill, is a very important tool in promoting human rights. Budget analysts who want to use their skills to address issues of poverty or to forward social justice could in turn find that a rights framework that is using human rights standards as a lens through which to look at budget figures can add very important dimensions to their work. Budget analysis as a skill or a tool is value neutral. It can be used for good or ill. Human rights ground budget analysis in positive values, because human rights are about what is right to do. There are many ways for government funds to be spent. Human rights provide a way to choose from among different options. At the minimum, such a framework makes clear that fiscal choices must not violate human rights. Budget analysts are often concerned with issues of government transparency and accountability. The importance of these issues is underscored by the fact that transparency and accountability are required by human rights guarantees that individuals enjoy of participation in public affairs and access to information. The purpose of Dignity Counts, this report, is to provide guidance to civil society organizations and others on how to use budget analysis as a tool to help us assess a government compliance with its economic, social, cultural rights obligations. It has been designed to provide information to both human rights activists and those involved in applied budget work, and we hope that it will be used by both groups. At the same time, recognizing that budget analysis is a technical skill, while human rights are a goal, we have sought above all to ensure that this resource will provide human rights workers with the basic information and guidance they need to start incorporating budget analysis into their ongoing work. So this book really is a guide on how we can use budget analysis. This is Dignity Counts, a guide to using budget analysis to advance human rights. So, steps for doing budget analysis within a human rights framework. Organizations might initiate budget analysis in response to an individual who has come asking for help, or perhaps a whole community that has a problem with health services or schools for the children in their village. So budget analysis can be used to determine whether government funding to the sector is in line with the other's human rights obligations. So this is a very nice guide. That's a number of pages. There's a lot to learn from this book. This is human rights, an overview. What are human rights? So human rights are about human dignity, and the human rights struggle is the struggle for recognition of and respect for this dignity. Human rights belong to the human person, and the people own those rights, whether or not the rights have been recognized in the law. The capacity of individuals, organizations, and governments to enforce human rights depends on a great extent on the existence of legal provisions protecting rights. Such provisions are contained in national constitutions and laws, as well as in international and regional documents and treaties. What is in national constitutions and laws? When considering a government compliance with its rights obligations, it is important to study the national constitution and laws to pinpoint responsibilities they place on the government. These national level provisions provide the first line of defense in the case of rights abuses. They are the easiest to use since they are widely recognized and understood by the legislature, the courts, and the public in the country as the law of the land. It is useful to be familiar with relevant regional and international provisions. If a government has ratified a regional or international human rights treaty, it is obliged to bring its national constitution and laws into line with the provisions of the treaty. As a result, in considering a government compliance with its regional and international commitments related to specific rights, a first step is to analyze the national constitution and laws to determine whether they are in line with these rights commitment. If the national constitution and laws provide strong and clear guarantees to economic social rights, that does not mean, of course, that the government is respecting these provisions. This is where budget analysis comes in to help ensure that the government is, through its actions, complying with its rights obligations. Regional human rights law and standards. The principal regional treaties that relate to economic social rights are 1. The African Charter, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. An intergovernmental institution, the African Commission on Human and People's Rights is responsible for supervising government's implementation of this charter. This is a very nice guide. It's a nice guide which needs to be used more regularly.